Commissioners and Chairman Zahn. I'm actually gonna speak just a moment about both this item, 10E and 10F. I won't speak very long because Commissioner Hoskins did an amazing job of setting this up when he was giving us a review of what happened at the Security Committee.
He actually wants to make a motion to approve.
This is Google on steroids, is what I'm going to tell you. I mean, this is really Star Wars stuff.
It's very, very cool, but more than very cool.
Do I need to bring my grandkids in?
Yes. So back in 2018, when we stood up the planning department, one of the goals of the planning department is to advance the tools that we use here at the Port of Corpus Christi. And we do that under the Technology Advancement Program. Today, both items 10E and 10F are alluding to that. You just heard an amazing presentation from our engineering department on Cargo Dock 9. These two projects that we're about to discuss are dovetailing into that. These two programs that we're going to be talking about, the Active Digital Twin and the Enterprise Asset Management System, are both intended to be integrations of existing systems. We have great systems and processes. We need them integrated so we can see where these things are happening together and get all of our departments working together the way that you're hearing today. Today it's been like a little party. It's been amazing. We want to continue that. So optimizing our systems, integrating those systems, and creating efficiencies for our teams. With that, I'd like to hand over to one of we've got two different project managers on these, and so first up will be Darrell Keach on the digital twin. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Hope I can live up to the hype. So the first question, obviously, is what is a digital twin? And instead of me trying to explain it, there's a short video here that will outline in some pieces what we're going to be building in the initial phase, but also what the future of our digital twin can be as we integrate other pieces of information that we have now in some systems, but also what we will be building in the future.
This is just an aerial photography, but processed into a 3D digital twin. Some of you are familiar with Boston, but this 3D base map picture is here shown integrated in with the vector data of Boston, like bus routes, or, isn't it beautiful, actually? Stunning. Okay. I'm zooming in and I'm seeing a 3D building, a BIM model, resting inside of this 3D picture. That's extraordinary. It means that I can mix vector and raster and building information all into one information set. And I can integrate it in with the rest of my GIS. This is a skyline of Boston. The red areas are showing the most recent buildings that are built. And you can see Boston Commons, those of you know it. It's kind of the central part of Boston. And so the vector attributes of these buildings are shown behind this 3D picture. And I can go underground. I can look here at water lines, actually. So I want to get across this notion that we're moving to 3D GIS, and we'll be maintaining it with BIM updates and feature updates, and it'll bring in all of the various information. This is a 3D condominium with 3D zoning. I can zoom right into this particular building and look at rooms and so on. Isn't it cool? And by the way, here's crime. Real-time crime in Boston. It's not really real-time, but it could be. So that you see overlays of information. I can also do land use planning, like using ArcGIS on Urban to mock up what the 3D zoning envelopes are. And looking at these 3D zoning envelopes, I'm looking into the future, being able to communicate effectively in a game engine environment with citizens. Look at realistic renderings of these very same buildings. This is not fantasy land. This is actually technology that exists.
So all of that sounds great for Boston, but how does that apply to us? And so this is a quick rendering from the company that we've selected of what the potential is for here at the port. And so what the digital twin would do is create a single pane of glass, so to speak, of bringing in data from different software systems that we already have. And what this view here is, I think they built this in a few hours to show simulated ships, but it actually would be based off the AIS data of vessels coming in. We also anticipate that we would eventually bring in the channel depths at some point. as well as, real imaging of the port. Obviously, the buildings here are not the current buildings, but we will be bringing in imaging of the actual port as it exists. So the digital twin becomes this hub of information for systems that now you may have to go to 2, 3, 4, 5 or more systems. And so instead of calling this a digital twin, we're going to call it OPTICS, which stands for Overall Port Tactical Information Computer System. And so OPTICS, in the initial build that this grant is going to cover, is building the port in 3D, showing vessels, commercial vessels in real time, as well as port vehicles in real time, both land and waterside. And this will set the stage for the future to be able to layer in many of the items you see here on the screen that are, things that exist in other data sets. Some you have on your phone today, some you don't, whether it be, city limit lines, county lines, or security cameras, pipelines, et cetera. Things that in one view you would be able to see all of these items. One of the important aspects of this build and combining all this data into one source is how do we secure this data? And so we've gone through to make sure that we're going to comply with FBI, Coast Guard, as well as customs security standards to secure this data set. Because one of our goals is not only internally to secure this data, but eventually be able to appropriately share this data with other departments within the port and potentially external partners, whether that be the Coast Guard, pilots, potentially other cities and counties, where appropriate, once the data is vetted and security or these other departments say we can share this data with these other external users. So how we got here is this was an RFP process. There were 7 proposals received. The evaluation committee selected 3 companies, which the companies then were provided questions and invited to answer those questions in front of the committee in person. The selection committee was a broad base of port and external people, as you can see here, from IT to procurement, emergency management, as well as the planning department. And Dr. Rick Smith from the Conrad Blucher Institute also provided valuable feedback on this project. Ultimately, we selected the acceleration agency out of Austin. As you can see from their previous clients, has a wealth of experience with very large names, and they have a couple of subcontractors that have done extensive work for a number of military agencies, including NASA, the Army, and Navy as well, which also speaks to the data security aspect. And with that, we're asking for approval for the $1.2 million through the Port Security Grant for approval to the acceleration agency.
I would make that motion till we accept the acceleration contract using that grant
I'll
money.
second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Let's see, let's start on this end, Diane.
Thank you very much. And this is an item that we considered extensively in our security committee meeting. And I think it's very important to note that 75% of the cost of the contract is reimbursed by FEMA. And so the Port of Corpus Christi investment would be $300,000, which is 25% of the budget. And this is absolutely a tool of the future and has very important implications for planning and engineering for our future. I want to thank staff very much for your work on this. It is a very exciting project, but I also want to underscore that this is an important tool that the Port of Corpus Christi and our entire community could utilize in the event of a natural disaster like a hurricane. So it does have widespread use, and I appreciated your comments related to securing the data. We talked also in security about in the future receiving a cybersecurity briefing and the need to look at greater investments in cybersecurity as well. And I know that we have a very ambitious staff that has made does a great job for us today. And they're looking at additional certifications as well that are worthy of note. They are working hard also. And so I appreciate all of our folks working together on this item. And And I believe that it's very important for the Port Commission to be considering, and it is definitely looking towards the future. So thank you.
Commissioner Hoskins?
Chairman, you said, can you bring your grandkids up here? Under the evolution of technology, I believe that part of the platform was a game, a video game. Is that correct? Some of
Yes,
it?
sir. It's based on game technology, correct?
And your grandkids might have it. It's called SimCity. So when I saw this, I said, I didn't want to say, I saw a game like this, and then Jeff said, you're right, it's true. SimCity was a game my daughter grew up with, more than 20 years ago, and it was exactly like this. So to see this come to life in a real-world application is so remarkable, and the fact that we can use this as a beneficial tool is great. So you're right, SimCity.
We'll all get controllers, can play with it. But I think it's got a lot of applications. Our EDCs can use it, business development can use it, security. I mean, it's got a lot of tentacles that can go out and help the port. I do want to say that I think we should give a great round of applause to our grants, all of our grants writing that we do